Greetings gamers and welcome to my honest AF review of Senua Saga Hellblade II. Disclaimer, there will be zero spoilers in this review. All the footage I will be showing is either trailers or combat that is not tied to the story in any major way. Second, I would like to thank Microsoft for providing the review code. What is Hellblade II? Many people have been wondering what exactly we will be playing on the 21st of May 2024 because the marketing for this title has been abysmal and misleading at best. Hellblade 2 is a title much akin to the first game with some very important differences. I will try to go from the most important aspects of the game to the least important, so people who want to get the major stuff out of the way will be able to enjoy the nuisance that will follow much easier. This game is a very narrative focused, short and fat-free production that will take you from point A to point Z with very few distractions, telling its story and leaving you to contemplate it. There are only two things that might get you out of the way whilst you're progressing through said story, and that is faces of stone on certain sides of mountains and the pillars found in the first game as well that will make Druth tell you a story about the events of past adventures. Both of these are pretty much non-consequential and a huge missed opportunity, because in a game like this where you want to be paying attention to what you're seeing and what's happening, looking around you every 5 seconds to find lore items that do not exactly tie into the main premise was not a very good idea in my humble opinion. What this game is trying to do from start to finish is get you sentimentally involved with the characters, with Senua and a couple others that will be following her throughout her journey from one point onward. It is a very dark, extremely gritty and brutal journey. I cannot exactly describe how brutal it is without giving you a couple of analogies. The Bone Tomahawk, the Descent and Descent 2, and maybe the Northman come to mind if I am to draw any lines of comparison, but that's pretty much it. Imagine those aspects combined into 8 hours of adventuring as Senua in this video game. Video game is a term that I will be using a bit loosely here, as with the first game, interactivity with the world is pretty limited, and Hellblade 2 sports even less combat than its predecessor. You heard that right. Hellblade 1, the OG Senua Sacrifice, has more action than this one. I know it might be hard to believe or stomach, but it is absolutely true. So what are they trying to do with this game? Why did this even get made after the events of the OG concluding the way they did? They want to flesh out the character more and show us what happened to her after she was done with her quote-unquote inner demons. Senua starts her journey, as we know from the trailers, to go and stop the massacre of raiders that plague the land. And a lot of stuff will happen very early on in this adventure that will force her to deviate from her path and lead to a deeper understanding of the world around her. Hellblade 2 is an aesthete's wet dream. Remember back in the early 2000s when we thought that Shenmue was as good as it could ever get, and then every 5 years something would come out and remind us there is still room for improvement? For me, that thought kinda peaked with the Order 1886 on the PlayStation 4. Very scripted, very linear game where everything looked pretty much photorealistic, but still it was always restricted by the technology of its time. That time has passed, and Hellblade 2 is hands down the most impressive looking video game we've ever had, much more so than Alan Wake, a game that was extremely advanced, but the nature of the proceedings and environments restricted what could be shown on screen. Here we're dealing with no such issues, since the scenes you will be experiencing and the sights you will be taking in throughout this very short journey will leave you dumbstruck. We're talking some of the most fantastic colors, depictions of natural beauty and warped reality you can imagine. It is a masterclass on designing worlds that take away the player's breath, and they did a tremendous job with this. This is an interactive media, of course, and we have to talk about the gameplay. The aesthetic intensity doesn't stop with the presentation. Everything that has to do with Senua's interaction with the environment, especially when it comes to combat, carries a lot of strength and intent behind it. Combat in Hellblade II is wild, and as battles take place you can feel the anguish and the anxiety of the people participating, trying to stay alive whilst exerting force and anger towards the opposition in order to intimidate them and ultimately emerge victorious. I have never seen a game in my 30 plus years of gaming that is even remotely as visceral as this one. Every time you finish off an opponent, you can see the sword going into their flesh, inflicting major wounds. When Senua focuses, as in Hellblade 1, enemies almost stand still and you can unload a barrage of almost supernatural looking attacks on them, each one rending flesh, letting blood flow and producing marks that are consistent until the enemy leaves the game world. We are talking an insane amount of animations and details, and not only on one-on-one encounters, that is the really insane part. On larger scale battles, they are few and far between, of course. When characters stumble upon each other, the dynamic of the entire battlefield changes. Someone might shove someone else in or out of the way, and you will also be fighting different enemies according to how you moved throughout the fight and what kind of enemy is closer to you when you dispose of someone. For all the potential for intricacy that this brings to mind, the mechanics are extremely simple. You have a dodge, a block that can be a parry if you time it correctly, a light and heavy attack, and a couple of running attacks. Most of the combos from the first game are pretty much gone, so we could say that combat in Hellblade 2 is even simpler than that of the first game. The complexity of the gameplay was not the intent here though. The presentation of what is happening was the focus of the creators, and this shows because no matter how simple combat is, the feeling it leaves you with is extremely impactful. Every swing matters, every kill and death you sustain will leave you reeling. It almost takes you into its own dimension whilst you're playing, and you feel Senua struggle as he's trying to survive in one of the most hostile environments you can experience in a video game. Talking about the environment and themes, I think that the first game generally went into darker places, both because Senua was totally lost at the beginning, but also because of what she was trying to do. She was trying to get to Helheim to confront Hela and free the soul of Delion, her beloved, who got slain during a raid. In the second game, at least for the first half, things are indeed a lot grimmer, but then the game kinda eases off as you start to see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not ponies and rainbows by any metric, it is still extremely gritty, dark and pessimistic for the most part, but it doesn't produce the same feeling of desperation during the end. You kinda understand where certain things come from, and that leads to less tension. I am not saying that this is a detriment by itself, because this is ultimately the story that these people wanted to tell, but for me, the first game went, let's say, deeper on some subjects than the second one does. What really saddens me is how this game was marketed and promoted, because if you have watched the trailer of this, you might be thinking that they were gonna pull this IP in any possible direction. This is a very linear, very narrative driven and short adventure, very akin to its predecessor, improving very little on anything but the technology. Some of the best graphics we've ever seen, some of the best sound we've ever heard, but that is about it. I played on PC and had everything pretty much jacked on a pretty respectable resolution. The game performed admirably, didn't get any crashes, and it was a wonder to behold from start to finish. This is what I believe was the focus of the studio from the beginning of this project. Present a very intimate, very streamlined journey that wouldn't overstay its welcome. By the end of Senua Saga, you feel like everything that could be done with what the game allows you to perform has been done and then some. They could have shown more, but in order for them to show more, they would have to enrich the experience of showing with something that would be along the lines of doing, and there is not enough gameplay in this video game to warrant a lengthier adventure. As it stands, it's gonna leave you reeling on many an occasion. It is full of soul and intent when it comes to what it is dealing with. It is the themes of psychosis and schizophrenia that the first game was known for, but ultimately it is more concerned with providing the shock of what you are doing and experiencing than making you think about mechanics, upgrade trees, and so on and so forth. To the creators' credit, they were adamant and crystal clear about what they were creating. The fault lies with Microsoft, who didn't really know how to promote this, what to present this video game as. If you know what Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is and you enjoyed that game, you are probably going to enjoy Hellblade 2. Be warned, there is zero replayability to this. You don't unlock any difficulty settings or extras apart from a couple of narrators and documentaries to watch. It is a one and done experience that will touch your soul, leave you thinking about the woes of your fellow human beings suffering from such conditions, and promote discussion. But at the end of the day, it is not a game for people who want a lot of action, a lot of flashiness, a lot of agency when they play their games. Hellblade 2 doesn't want to challenge your mind and doesn't want to challenge your reflexes. It wants to challenge your perception of what the world is like for people who were born less lucky than us, and what it means to be human suffering in a world that doesn't really want to accept you. If you are ready for the second journey in the depths of Senua's mental health, you will not be disappointed by Hellblade 2. If not, steer clear from this one, because you will not get anything out of the experience. You will be left wondering what the fuss was all about. Thank you so much for watching, people. Subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more reviews like this. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers.